Everybody, I'm Kirstin. Day 6 of 26. So I've been enjoying doing these Facebook Lives, and I'm excited to be doing another one. I have a bunch of Winston Churchill quotes. I don't know a lot about Winston Churchill, just that he has a lot of really good quotes. I mean, obviously I know who he is and all that kind of stuff, but he said some good stuff. So here's one from Winston today. Courage is what it takes to sit down and listen. You know, I talked about listening a couple of days ago and how most of us don't truly listen to understand. We don't listen with curiosity, that most of us listen to debate or listen to respond. And, you know, it's a very important skill. It's so important to collaboration, so important to conflict resolution, that piece around truly listening. And, you know, what Winston says around, you know, courage, it takes courage to sit down and listen. I think that that's true. And I just had a conversation with Sarah Roach Lewis, who had me on her. She did a little interview with me on Zoom, which you can see on her LinkedIn page later. And we were talking about conflict, collaboration, all that kind of stuff. And she asked me what some of the benefits were of using collaboration in a workplace. And one of the things that I said that I thought was one of the biggest benefits was that when you create a truly collaborative environment, a truly collaborative workplace, that you are actually not just addressing conflict in a way that's helpful or effective. You're actually inviting conflict. You're inviting conversations about things that don't work. And, you know, there'd be a lot of people who might find that very uncomfortable, who might say, why would you invite conflict? Why would you ask for it? I tend to think about conflict in a different way, I think, than maybe a lot of other people. And I don't think of conflict as that it doesn't have to be that yucky, uncomfortable thing. When we normalize it and when we say differences are normal and let's talk about them, let's actually sit down and see if we can figure out what are the differences, what are the things that don't work. And when you can normalize that in a workplace or in a government, in a province, then that's when you can start to see some really innovative things. You can start to see some decision making and some action that really becomes transformational, becomes innovative. And so, you know, when Winston talks about the courage is what it takes to sit down and listen, I think listening to other people, listening to what their needs are, listening to the things that are not working for them. And of course, there's the flip side, and that's sharing what your needs are and sharing what doesn't work for you. But that's sometimes can feel hard to hear, you know, when something you're doing isn't working for someone else, or when something that you're doing is actually harming someone else. Sometimes that can feel really difficult to hear. But the more you set up an environment where that kind of question is normal, the more you will see that sort of transformation that collaboration can take place in a workplace or in a relationship. So yeah, it does take courage to hear when something you're doing or saying, or when an idea that you have isn't going to work for somebody else. It does take courage to listen to someone else's point of view. But honestly, in the long run, getting your way doesn't really mean you've won anyway. When you're talking about relationship, you know, when you're talking about interpersonal relationship, if you win, if you get your way, if you don't hear about all the ways that the people that you're in relationship with, whether it's at work or in your personal life, if you don't hear about all the ways that things aren't working for them, that relationship is not going to last, and it's going to be impacted negatively, and that's going to impact you negatively. So it takes courage, sure. It takes courage to listen, but I think it's what leads to transformation. And the more you do it, I think the harder or the less hard it becomes, right? The more you do it, the less courage it takes, I think. So happy election day, PEI. I'm excited to see what happens at the end of the day. You know, there's a lot of courage, I think, that people have shown. You know, a lot of people that are running today who are taking a risk, and I really appreciate them for taking those risks. And yeah, we'll see what happens at the end of the day. So if anybody's looking for more information about the course I have coming up, as always, the link is in the description. And again, I have that free guide for maybe asking, you know, that connects to this. I think some of the tips that I share in that free guide on collaborationschool.com can give you some language, can give you some ideas about how do you start that conversation. So anyway, have a great day. Thanks for joining me, Barb and Dawn and Denise. Love you all. Bye.